that time when the car alarm went off?
Hi, y'all. Welcome to Hustle Humbly. It's Alissa and Katy, and we are two top producing realtors in the Baton Rouge market.
We work for two different companies where we should be competitors, but we have chosen community over competition.
The goal of our podcast is to encourage you to find your own way in business.
So stop comparing yourself and start embracing your strengths.
Okay. Hi, all. It's episode 56 of the Hustle Humbly podcast. This is Katy. And Alissa has brought into the studio a lemon cookie, which I am now going to eat in your ear.
Yes, I was just eating mine just now.
She had a face like, don't start right now.
Wait. Okay, I'm ready, though.
I'm not ready.
Our snack.
We're in the middle of our afternoon snack. Okay. Today's episode is, should you change brokers?
And I would like to start off by saying, your chances for success as a real estate agent are highly dependent on you.
Agree.
That is
100% agree.
That is my disclaimer, is that I strongly believe that while a company is very important, it is not what determines if you are successful, and you cannot blame a company if you are not getting the clients.
Yes. Agree.
Perfect.
And you cannot blame a company that you are not successful because they said they would give you leads.
Right.
And then you didn't get the leads.
Correct.
I think that's fair. So disclaimer in.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. I broke this down for me into reasons you would change.
Yeah.
Do change if, and do not change if.
Why do people switch?
Are you asking me or are you going to tell me? Well, there were all kinds of lists. Money, leads, leadership, community, location of the office. I think why do I think is the number one reason people change, just from my personal experience and knowledge? When they're not making money, they change.
Yeah.
They think, it's not me, it's my broker.
Right.
And I need to go where the grass is greener. And the bad news here is it's not.
Everything I read said money was the number one reason.
That would, for sure. If you made me bet money, I would have said that.
Right.
Okay. So I think that's fair. Why else do you think they move?
A lot of what I read was just about recognition. Like, people aren't recognized for their success or their positive things that they have going on.
That is really interesting and ironic, because I feel like I will say, y'all all know this, I recently changed brokers. I have been at the same office for 14 years. I love my old office. I love my new office. I have nothing bad to say about anyone. And I had my reasons for changing, and I don't know that we're going to necessarily dive into those. But part of the thing that I liked leaving from my old big, Remax franchise and going to a tiny local boutique is that I'm no longer ranked.
Right.
I hated being ranked.
Yeah.
I hated that the lists were printed and put in the break room for the state, not just ranked in my office.
Everybody.
Because my broker wasn't super into that.
Everyone in Louisiana.
I hated that I got emails from other sweet agents in other markets saying, look at you, you're number 42. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't even know. And now I don't want to know.
Right.
So it's funny to me but I think the other part is, my broker was always great at saying, you did a good job.
Sure.
And recognizing you in that way.
Yeah.
I just don't like the recognition when it's given a number.
Sure.
That's just not my jam.
Yeah. And I think recognition can be, like, what I love about my broker is when I call her, she answers or gets back to me.
Yeah.
Like, she knows.
Yeah.
And it's just nice knowing that I have her in my corner personally.
Yeah. And I would like to add in here, you're at 9 years in.
Yeah.
I'm at 15 years in. Your broker is still important.
Yes.
Having a human that you can call and talk things through is important. And it doesn't go away just because you've been in it longer. Now, I think either one of us has the ability and capacity to be a broker, but neither of us have that desire.
Yeah, to me, it's a totally different business model.
Completely different gig.
I have people ask me all the time, when are you going to open your own brokerage? As if that's the next step.
Yes.
But it's not. It's not the next step in being a successful realtor. It's it's a totally different
It's a different
career.
ladder. You're not climbing that ladder.
No.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want me to start on my do change if or don't change if?
So you're going to read us a list of why you should change.
Why I think it would be okay to change.
Okay.
Okay. Do change your broker if you are leaving a toxic situation
Mm-hmm.
or a place with not a good community.
Right.
So if you go to the office and you feel uncomfortable, unhappy, I also had if they don't match up with your values,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. I think that's an acceptable reason because there are a lot of reasons it is not okay to leave.
Yeah.
We're going to get there. But I think if it's a toxic situation, if you're unhappy, if the people are not nice to you, if you don't feel supported, that would be okay. Along with support, if you don't have a great partner, even if it's another agent or a broker or someone who can support you when you're sick, away, if you can't find that within the confines of your office, it is probably a good time to change brokers.
Sure.
If your brokerage does not approve of how you do your business. So let's just say you're heavy on social media and your brokerage is more old school and they don't agree with that and they think you should be door knocking.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is. I think you need to be in an environment where your broker is your cheerleader.
Yes.
And they want to help you in any way they can and support you just with support, emotional support.
Sure.
Okay. So that would be a decent reason to change. Also, you can change if you have a great sphere and you do not rely on your broker for leads. If you're closing business, regardless of the fact that your broker is giving it to you, fine.
You know what's so funny?
Could leave.
When I was new and interviewed 3 brokers, none of them ever mentioned leads.
Giving you leads.
No,
Yeah,
that
but
was
they do
never, that's like a big thing now.
I think so.
But it was just not like
yeah.
all 3 brokers that I interviewed with were very, it's up to you.
You make the money.
You make the money.
Uh-huh.
We're here to support you and train you and give you the tools and do this and that. But there was no speak of lead feeding. So
Yeah.
that was never even like a question.
Right.
And now that's a really big thing.
How many leads will you provide?
Right.
Like, what do you mean?
Give me.
Right.
But to me, I'm like, no, you should work.
Oh my God. I wonder if that's just like a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Is that like an entitlement type of thing?
Maybe so.
I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, I know.
But
we're seeing this shift.
I'm Gen X. Like, I don't come from a place where you don't work for stuff.
Right.
Like, you
I don't
work for it.
want you to give me anything.
I got this.
Yeah.
Like, you can point me in the right direction, but you're not going to I'm not taking your hand out.
And it's funny because when I was having all those lunches with people that were unhappy,
your coffee dates,
it was because they were not given what they were promised.
Well, that's
but why
part
were
of the
you
problem.
ever promised anything at all?
Yeah. I don't like that. Okay. So if you have a sphere and you don't need leads, I'm doing my air quotes, that would be an okay reason, like an okay part of changing. You can't change if you need your broker for your business.
Whenever I did interview, I interviewed with a Remax.
Yeah.
Brand new. I didn't know. I just like the balloon. And so
you're like, this is good.
That's pretty. Yeah. And they were so honest with me about
this isn't good for a new agent.
Yeah, we're not great for new agents. We're kind of like, if you want to be on your own and you have your business and it's like, I see the value in that.
Yeah.
Like that would really be if you're just at the point where you're just doing you, living your life and you don't need.
Yeah. Do you know what's really ironic about that?
What?
And I don't have a problem being transparent about this. That's one of the reasons why I left Remax was because I'm in a point in my career where I needed new agents to be in the office.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to easily refer out an open house or an extra lead.
Sure.
Or I wanted people who needed me for training, like who wanted to take a course or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the reason why they told you couldn't be there is part of why it was time for me to move on because I wanted to be around newer
Have a good
agents.
mix.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
That is
But that's
funny.
true for Remax. I mean, it's just not.
Yeah, it's a great business model though.
For
like
sure.
if you are at a place in your career.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that for sure.
You needed the honesty.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's another do change if you have thought about making this change for 6 or more months. Please do not change after one night, one day, 1 week, 1 month. You need to give that thought some time. And my last one I had on the do change if you are making a change for financial reasons, not because you need to make more money, but because you need to change your split or fees or whatever your situation is within your broker. I think that's an acceptable reason to change.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the situation.
A lot of what I read, because I think you should give it time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what I read said, if you know it's not working out, get out quickly.
Okay.
But my thought was, hopefully you're doing your homework enough
yes.
that whatever you join isn't a quick failure. Like, did you do any research?
Right. Well, how long were you there?
Right. And like, did you not?
Oh,
no, it's in my pocket.
What's fine?
I'm like, what is that?
Remember that time when the
car alarm went off? Oh my gosh, that's funny. But yeah, my question is like, did you research enough and then you show up and the culture is nothing like you thought it was? And
right.
Like, did you even ask any questions?
I would say here, you cannot judge a full brokerage or company on one agent that you talked to.
No.
They might be delightful.
And I get it. I know there are companies that way overpromise.
Oh, yeah.
And then you show up and you're disappointed and, but.
The article I read said, first of all, it had a list of questions, but these are amazing. Why are you thinking of moving?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just really stop. Why are you thinking of moving? And then, will a new broker solve that problem? So why are you thinking of moving? Is it your commute to the office is too long and you just can't spend an hour away from your kids driving to the office? Well, if you move to a broker closer to your house, that is solving that problem.
Sure.
But why are you moving? And will a new broker actually solve that problem?
I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Did you take advantage of everything that broker has to offer?
Oh, that's a good one.
So did you go to the training classes?
Yeah.
Did you put forth the effort? If they do free mail outs, did you do them?
Yeah.
Did you take advantage of everything?
Mm-hmm.
And then do they know you are unhappy and have you given them a chance to respond? So you can't keep these things inside. Like if there's something that that's not sitting well with you, they need to know.
Okay.
And, have a chance to at least remedy the problem. I'm sure they would appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
But it needs to be a business decision that is not made out of emotions.
Oh, that is such a good point. And I was just thinking, over my many years, I can remember agents leaving on sort of a reactionary, one bad thing happened, or maybe the broker didn't handle a situation the way they wanted, or an agent in the office stole a client. Like something happened internally that made them get very angry and make a very quick decision. And I'm not saying that if something like that happens to you, you're not allowed to leave.
Sure.
But you want to make sure you don't just leave because you're angry at one thing. And you want to also make sure you take enough time to research where you're going.
Yes. Make a smart decision.
Maybe you have to leave. And I agree. Maybe something's happened that's just not okay with your principles and morals or whatever. But you can't just also run and pick the first company that you run across. You have to give it some you should interview again, just like you did in the beginning.
Oh, for sure. I don't even know what I would do at this point.
You would interview again.
Whew.
I mean, right? On the DL.
Yeah. I read that, in 2013, the average was people stayed at their broker around 5 years.
That is interesting.
As of 2017, it was 3 years.
So people are moving more often.
And now it's, 2020, so probably more than 3 years.
Like every year and a half, they're like, peace.
Bye. And you know what? I think some of that could be because there's all sorts of new companies.
I was about to say the same thing.
It used to be all these big name brokers that everybody knows. And now there's so many more options. There's hybrids and people in the cloud, and
the people
you could have a desk or you could not. And it's just really adjusting to everybody's new lifestyles and what you really want.
That's true.
Yeah.
I would love to know, and we didn't look this up, if there are more single broker operations now.
So many.
It feels like there are a lot.
I read about I don't remember the exact numbers, but there are so many.
Yeah.
And I serve on our board of directors just for Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And at every monthly meeting, we have to approve the new agents and new brokerages.
Right.
But then we also have to approve those that are like leaving.
Oh.
And it's constant.
Constant turnover.
Yes. And it's funny because there's companies in our marketplace
Mm-hmm.
that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's John Smith Realty.
Yes.
And John Smith is
the
the
only-
only agent.
And John only does 2 transactions
right.
a year.
John does 2 transactions a year and he's a broker.
He's like, I want all that money.
Yeah.
And I don't
that's
need
just
you.
how he operates. It's very interesting.
While we're on brokers and talking about that, I remember when we started, I think you had to be an agent for 2 years in Louisiana in order to get your broker's license. Now I think it's between 3 and 5. It's a longer
yeah, I
period
think
of
it's
time. It's 5. But did you know, and this may have changed, so y'all can check me on this, you're not required to have done any transactions.
Oh my gosh.
So you have to have physically.
They just want you to pay your dues.
You have had to pay for your license and you'd have to do continuing ad, right, to keep your license in good standing.
yeah.
But let's just say it's 5 years. You have to be an agent for 5 years, but you don't actually have to sell any houses.
No experience needed.
No experience needed.
Okay.
And I think the other problem with being the one-man show, John Smith, and he's the only agent, broker agent, there is no one holding you accountable for your actions.
Oh yeah, I know.
Whenever you have like a really crazy situation, not whenever, sometimes you will find that you'll be like, oh, well, why don't you just ask the broker to help you? And they're like, but wait, they are the broker.
Yeah, then it's a real problem.
Then it's a real problem.
Yeah.
That's when probably the commission has to get involved a lot more.
Yeah, the
board of
real estate
realtors.
commission,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just crazy.
I had notes on this too because big versus small companies.
Yes.
I think that they all have a value depending on where you are in your career.
Yes.
Like when I was new, I didn't have my own numbers.
Right.
So I could show up at a listing appointment with charts
Mm-hmm.
showing like,
Yeah.
oh, this is our company in this zip code,
Yeah.
showing where we rank.
Yes, the company reputation is more important early on.
I think that, so I had company reputation written down. Let's
Okay.
see where I had that. Reasons to look into when looking to switch. What is the reputation
Yeah.
of that company? I think that it would be good to just Google and see what Google has to say.
Some reviews.
But also, for example, like I serve on the board of directors for our local and I attend the state meetings and I attend some national meetings.
Mhm.
I love when I go to another city in Louisiana and I
Mhm.
say my company name, they know, like,
Right.
oh, they've always been very involved in the industry. They
Right.
have representatives that go to DC. And
Right.
like, I just love that,
Yeah.
that part of it. That was important to me. That's not
Yeah.
important to everybody.
Right.
But to me, that was something that, like, when I said this company name,
Right. It gave you legitimacy.
yes.
Yeah.
And so, reputation is super important. When, just depending on what you need, it was important to me.
Okay. Do you want to hear some of my do not change?
Yeah.
I told y'all the do change first, so you would know I'm not just poo-pooing the idea of leaving your broker.
Okay.
But now I'm going to tell you why you should not change.
Why you should stay where you are.
Stay where you are.
Okay.
Do not change brokers if you are having a case of the shiny thing syndrome.
Oh.
You're just like, oh, look at the fancy tech, tools, trips that brokerage takes. I mean, first of all, do you even have time to implement any new tech or
Right.
tools or take a trip?
Are you techie?
Why do you feel like you need to have that? Is it going to impact your business? Again, will this solve your problem? If not, don't go. If you haven't made any changes in yourself first, do not change brokers.
Accountability.
Yeah, if you're because we already said the number one reason you're leaving is money. You want to make more money. What did you try differently yourself before you just went to a new broker?
Sure.
There's got to be something.
Self-reflection is super important.
So important. Okay. This is my note. Do not change if you need more business.
Okay. Right.
It's not magic. It's not a
No.
magic pill. And I don't want to make anyone feel like we're like down on it, but there are some agents that change brokers a lot.
Yes.
And they're notoriously moving around, and some of those moves cannot be helped if your brokerage closed
Right.
or merged with another one. I get it. You're at a different office. But I always die when it's the same agent and they're announcing it on social media.
There's a big announcement.
Guess what? I'm so excited to
Guess what? After the third time, no one cares.
Also, no one knows where you are. They don't care anyway. And they don't trust that you're going to stay still long enough for them to buy a house.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I feel like it makes you look unreliable.
Yeah.
But it's hard to take you seriously when you're always that person with a really big announcement.
Yeah.
And the public doesn't really care.
They don't care about that. Just move.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't had anyone, maybe one or two people have said, oh, you're at a new office. And I'm like, yes, it's still me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It matters to me.
Sure.
But it doesn't matter to my clients. They don't know the difference because I'm providing the same exact service.
Our company had different names in the Gulf South.
Oh, right.
So like in Lake Charles, we were called something else, and we were all followed by Ladder and Bloom.
Okay.
So like in Baton Rouge, we were CJ Brown, Ladder and Bloom.
Uh-huh.
So instead of CJ Brown, Ladder and Bloom, we were just going to be Ladder and Bloom everywhere.
Love it.
And they wanted to meet with the top 30 to say like, we want to make sure y'all are okay with this
Right.
and blah, blah, blah. And it was hard because sometimes like older people who are used to their company name, they've been with the company 20 years.
Yeah.
But at the end of the meeting, we all concluded it's not going to affect my business at all.
Right.
Like I probably won't even announce it at all. And I had actually
sign.
I changed my sign.
Right. You had to change
And what's funny is I think I had decided like I'm not going to do a big announcement because there's nothing to announce.
Right.
Because
it's just a different name. Same thing.
Yeah. And people have even seen that name with me.
Makes sense.
So, but I loved the new logo so much. It was like, really cool. Anyway, so I just like wrote a little thing and it was not a big deal, but it just made me realize that made me a little nervous.
Right.
And it wasn't a big deal, but I can't imagine doing it over and over.
No.
It's a lot of work. We had to get new business cards.
Well, that's the next
new
thing.
signs.
Yes. Don't change your broker if you don't have time for the money or logistical part of changing.
Right.
Yeah. Signs, cards, phone numbers of your office. Like, do you have to learn a new
email
broker's?
address?
All these things. All of these things.
Mm.
It takes work. It is not easy. I personally did it during quarantine so that it was easier and it was still a lot of hassle.
Hello, friends. We are so excited that so many of you are using the template course and the reviews are just pouring in, letting us know that it has helped your business as much as it has helped our business.
Yes, listen to this review. Thank you so much for providing this wealth of information, knowledge, in template form. So far, I've used a handful and received positive feedback like, this is so professional, or I really appreciate how organized you are. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah,
Your clients are actually going to say that.
Yes.
All right, here's another one. Thank you so much for this. I can't tell you how many times I've started this and how many notebooks of samples and notes I had. I have ADHD and it is super hard to stay focused on getting it done. Having it all in one place is going to make it so nice.
That is what we're here for.
I know, just look, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just use these.
Yeah, nice and simple, easy, ready to go, ready for you to put your own logo on, make it sound like you. So head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/course and check it out.
That's right.
And you're going to enjoy them. You're going to love them.
You're
It's
gonna
going
love
to
it.
change your life.
Literally fired my assistant. They are the best. Okay, bye,
Enjoy
friends.
the template.
Yes, enjoy.
Right.
Okay. You're going to like this one. Do not change if you are being heavily recruited.
Yes.
Being recruited is not a reason to leave your current broker. Is there a problem with your current broker? Are you not happy? Are you not making money there?
Right.
Are you not happy there? Are you not feeling supported there? Why would you change just because someone said, come to my office, it's great?
I literally wrote down, do not move if another company is flattering you by stroking your ego with recruiting efforts.
See?
That's what it is though.
They will tell you And they will tell you how green the grass is there.
So green.
And also remember that they are then going to expect you to recruit there.
Yes.
So if it is a company that heavily relies on recruiting in that way, they are also going to expect that
you to pet
do that.
and lunch.
So if that's not something you want to do, if you just want to sell houses, then maybe that's going to bother you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it reminds me of when I worked at Old Navy in retail, and they would hassle you every day. How many credit cards did you get signed up? Like, that's a big deal. In retail, they want you to get those credit card sign ups.
Sure.
And I'm just like, this is so dumb. Like, I did all of my job. Like, why do I have to? I don't want to do this.
So one of the things that you should look for is culture.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And that when we say culture, that's a huge thing in real estate that you really need to look at, because some companies want each agent to be a realtor and a recruiter.
Yeah.
Some companies don't want you to recruit at all. They just want you to go be really good at your job, just focus on selling real estate, and we have a recruiter or not.
Yeah.
Like, I read that, I think it said 43% of companies don't recruit.
Yeah.
They just work.
It's like a word of mouth and a work.
And to me, that's like the most attractive, because you're not having to like beg and.
Right. I don't want to I don't need to convince anyone.
No.
Please don't. If you feel like someone's trying to convince you.
Yeah.
That's not a
Why
good
are they
sign.
trying so hard?
Well, it's just not necessary. And that doesn't mean you can't go to a company that recruits. It just means that you should be mindful that you may be required
I think
to
this
recruit.
was several years ago on The Bachelor.
Oh, God.
He broke up with the one he was going to choose on purpose to see how she reacted.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And she, is crying, and she went off camera, and the camera's interviewing her, and she's like, I'm just devastated because I loved him, but I want him to be happy. And
yes,
he would be happier with her. I love him enough to blah, blah, blah. Well, he comes in like while she's talking, and he's like, I just wanted to make sure that you had the character to be my wife, and that you didn't come in here and go,
I just want to win.
Yeah, like forget him and blah, 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 and like bad mouth. And he said, I want you. And he proposed like right there. And so anyways, I say that to say.
How did I miss this? This is not an actual season of The Bachelor?
It was a long time ago.
Okay. I'm going to have to look into
long
this.
time ago.
Okay.
And I want to say he broke up with the other girl too, and her reaction, he was going to break up with her regardless, but she had the ugly side.
And he was like, oh,
real life. Didn't lose anything there.
Oh my gosh.
But I had an agent recently that called me, and I never met him, but he said, my aunt wanted me to talk to you, and I'm, and I said, well, look, I'm going to tell you this up front. I don't care what company you go to.
Right.
I'm not going to make more money one way or the other, so you don't have to worry about my opinion being biased.
Right.
And he told me, look, this company is like heavily recruiting me, and they're giving me all these things to practice passing my real estate test and blah, 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 blah. Well, anyway, he called me back a week later and said, oh, I know what it was. He said, but I would still like to talk to your broker. I said, sure, here's her number, schedule an appointment, let me know how it goes.
Right.
He said that he just let them know that he had another interview, and they got so ugly and like checked in with him after and was like, are you done cheating on us?
Oh, no.
Yes. It was just like,
oh, no.
So it kind of goes to show that as sweet and charming as some of these recruiting efforts can be, you cannot be fooled. You really need to look at the culture of the company.
Right.
And sometimes you don't know until they think you're out. And then the true colors show out. And it made me think of The Bachelor.
And sometimes that's funny. Sometimes you won't know until you get there. And maybe you will get there and you will love it.
Yes.
Maybe it's the right fit for you.
Yes.
Everybody has their place. But yes, be aware. Okay. You should not change if you have been in the business for less than, and I picked 3 years.
Okay.
And then I said, refer back to the list of do change if. So if there are some things on the do change list that are on your side, fine. But be advised, changing your broker in less than your first 3 years is probably more you feeling like you're not succeeding a little bit.
Right.
And looking for that elsewhere. And I will also put a disclaimer on this because, I like transparency. To be fair, I went to 3 brokers in my first year, but not necessarily on purpose. I started at one, that was not a good fit for me.
Okay.
For plenty of reasons on the do change list.
Okay.
And then I went to a very small company that I liked and wasn't trying to leave, but they closed down
Oh.
and were absorbed by my Remax office.
Okay.
So
Fine.
I sort of
And you stayed put there
I stayed there for
how
14
long?
years.
That's a
so,
long time.
I mean, it is what it is. But a lot of people change a few times. And I think maybe I'll put a disclaimer on my thought. You have to be in the business between 6 months and 3 years before changing, or do it in the first 6 months. Like if you got to it
Yes.
and you're like, this isn't a fit for me.
Move quickly and get settled.
Yeah, right. Get out. Don't move. Don't make that move when you're new based
Mhm.
on your success, like your business. If it's not a good fit, move. And if you thought it was a good fit and you stayed 6 months, then you got to stay for 3 years.
Sure.
You got to
Mhm.
like work it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there is such thing as too much change. So the sooner in your career that you can get settled
Well,
and establish.
right. You need a routine.
Yeah.
You need some stability. You need to and I'm sorry to tell you, friends, you have to grind
Yeah.
in the beginning, especially.
Now, I know some brokerages leaving them would require more planning than others because some will just cut you off the moment they know.
Next on my list.
Oh, really?
Yes. Next on my list was do not change if you have a large book of pending business and
Okay.
you're not sure how your broker will react.
Because, and look, I'm not familiar with this part of it. I don't know and I know you had a pleasant experience with your transition. It was fine.
But I also, not that I didn't trust my broker, but the truth of the matter is my business belongs to my broker.
right.
Right? So
That's what agents don't realize.
I don't have any claim to my listings or my pendings. And if my broker, when I'm leaving, wants to be nice and let me have those commissions, great, but they're not required to. And, I don't know your particular situation at your office if you're thinking of leaving, but God forbid your broker is having a bad day or is a very maybe short-tempered person. They could very easily say, oh, okay, fine. Katie, you want to go? Roll out. I'm keeping all this.
So if you're at an office that you're unhappy with and you want to leave, but you're worried about the backlash, like you are worried.
Yeah.
What are some things that you should,
I think you need to do proper planning.
okay, like how long could that take? Like 6 months?
Probably.
Maybe?
I mean, look, and I think no matter the situation with your broker, it would be wise to try and be at a lot of people switch in January because that's a lower point in their production.
Okay.
So you just don't have as many pendings or listings.
So maybe wait till a slower season.
So wait for a slow season. Wait for maybe if you've got a chunk of pendings and you're going to be closing them all at once. I would, wait for that. It also just logistically, even if your broker is delightful and nice and going to let you take all your business, it is a logistical task.
Yeah.
To move it, to, you still have to get paid under the old broker and then bring the check to them and then they cut a check to your new broker and it's like a whole thing. So just not having a lot of pending
would be better.
Is way easier.
And then say they're not pending. Say you just have a bunch of active listings.
Now y'all don't quote me on this because I don't know, it's just what is local, but I mean, you can go to your seller and ask them if they want, tell them what you're doing, ask them if they want to stay with your broker, you'll be leaving, or if they want to withdraw the listing and then relist with your new broker, that would be the other option there. If it's getting close to their expiration, you can just say, we'll let this one run out and then you can come relist with me and the new broker. I guess there's a few ways you could handle it.
I mean, I've heard like if you have a company email address and they get wind that you're leaving, they'll just shut off your email and you cannot, clients have no way to
reach you. And I've heard the same thing with like if you have a company .loop account or DocuSign or something like that, they can just turn you off and then you can't even access your documents.
That's so scary.
Yeah, so it really is something you have to think
really have
through.
To plan.
It is not a knee-jerk type of decision. And you gotta, if you have listings and you're moving, you have to have the signs already made, like your new sign.
Right.
Like you need to, logistically, signs don't just appear.
Right.
You don't have to have a business card.
No.
You'll live. But you gotta have a sign. You gotta be prepared with the documents. And even just like my buyer and seller folders, I had to change out all of the documents that said my old broker information, all of your marketing for your list. That's another reason why you don't want to have a bunch of listings. All of the marketing that you have for your listings is branded.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit trickier, I think, if you're further into it and you've got some business going.
For agents that do have their own personal email address, like you just made a Gmail, say. I read an article recently that with all this wire fraud and scams going on, you really do have to be careful because, like, for example, I use my company email address.
Yeah.
They have, like, our tech team has certain security measures in place and also carries a certain level of liability that is taken off of me.
Right.
But if you are a realtor operating under your own email and something happens, you could be held liable for it.
Yeah, that's scary.
So it's just something to think about. And I'm not really techie in that world, but and not to go off on a huge tangent, but it could be something to look into to see if there's something you could do to make sure your account is secure, because we are handling hundreds of thousands of dollars
a lot of money
in transactions.
Yeah, for sure.
But I really like your list because I think if you're at a place where you're trying to make this decision, one of the best ways to take emotions out of the decision is to write it down.
Yes.
Because you don't write it down.
No.
Yeah, write down
I'm so mad.
Yes.
I'm moving right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you got to write down the pros and cons because it's also not going to be cut and dry.
No.
There are going to be reasons why you want to stay. There are going to be reasons why you want to go. There's going to be, changes you can make where you are that might make it what you need it to be. And there might be things that there's just no way for you to change or fix or whatever. And sometimes you don't get to make the choice. Sometimes the company closes or your broker retires or, something happens and you are forced to make a change. Don't also let that weigh you down. It's okay to move.
Sure.
I think that some people also stay in a bad situation too long.
Yes.
Because they're afraid to move. They don't understand how to move. They don't want their clients to think that they're flaky or that they won't work with them now that they're not at the big name and they're now their small name or whatever the case may be. I think it's okay to move. It's your business.
Right.
Ultimately, you are in charge of your business. So you can make that decision, but give it a lot of thought.
Right.
Like a lot of thought.
Take it seriously.
Take it very seriously and just don't do it. I think the main message I would like to get out there is just don't do it just because you want to grow your business, because that is not a valid reason.
There has to be more.
There has to be more
to make that change.
There has to be more. Now, if it is the environment or the, community or whatever, that might impact how you feel. And then you're just a happier person that does more business, but your final numbers aren't coming from the office where you are. We didn't even say we were going to discuss this, but I think there's a lot of this that can also be applied to, should you join a team? Should you leave a team?
Yes.
Like a lot of these questions would still maybe make sense because teams are their own little micro brokerage.
They are
within the brokerage. So then there are levels. Like, does your team leader, give you the support you need? Are you finding the training that you want? Like the team operates like a brokerage. Well, then apply all this stuff to that.
Right.
And don't stay too long. If it's
I had a situation recently where there was an oversight due to myself and the other agent.
Okay.
So both of us had kind of overlooked something. I don't want to get into it too much, but it was mostly the listing agent's fault.
Okay.
Like they had something labeled incorrectly.
Got it.
I assumed it was labeled correctly.
Got it.
And it wasn't.
Got it.
And it was the client, my buyer, after closing was upset. And my broker swooped in, did what we had to do. It was done because we decided to split it. We actually decided I would do 25% and they would do 75% because it was more on them.
Okay.
And my broker was like, we don't even have to do 25. But she said, 25%, we'll handle it in and out. Let's get this done. And I knew I could go to her and say, hey, this is a situation.
Right.
The other one was like, I can't go to my broker. Like, I just have to deal with this.
Oh, no.
And I was like, that stinks.
Oh, no.
But they just didn't have that
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that support.
Yeah. So
For
they had to
sure.
just like eat it. And So it just it makes you realize why
Yes.
what do you need?
Yeah.
Where are you in your business?
Right. It's also that's a great point. It is also different all throughout your career. What you need when you're new is different than when you're in the middle, is different than when you're closer to the end. It's just different all along.
Yeah.
You just have to evaluate where you're at and where you want to go. Like, where do you want your business to go?
Right.
Oh, that was great.
Wonderful. Very informative. A lot to think about.
So much to think about. I would love to maybe, I always do ask people, why are you moving? Like, tell me more.
Tell me.
What do you like about the new place? You know, how's it going? It's very interesting, but it's such a common practice.
So common.
Like everyone moving around. And sometimes I will tell you this funny story. I have gotten in the habit of when I work a transaction with an agent or an agent calls me or whatever, and I put them into my phone, like I save their contact.
Yes.
I specifically put their current office.
So do I.
Because when they call back and they're at a different office, I'm always like trying to remember where they were before. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's not right.
Yeah.
Where were they before? And so now I can see.
Yeah, you just save them that way.
I just save them that way.
That's funny.
I guess if they change, then I'll just line it up. Like I'll just do a slash.
Yeah.
You know, this
And
one
then
through this
they have
one
the whole
through this one.
alphabet.
They're going to be the whole thing. Oh my goodness. Okay, ready for a toast?
Yes, I'm ready.
We're done. Okay, hold please while I get us a toast. Today we are going to toast to, I think hopefully I say this right. We're going to toast to Mindy Nyhaus, and who celebrated her 6th year in real estate.
Yay.
Before she was a teacher, so she is a great visionary. She's good at goal setting, and she's the motivator for House & Co. So that was from Vanessa, and that's to Mindy, and I think that is awesome.
So she was a teacher, and now she's been in real estate for 6 years.
6 years.
That's awesome.
I know. So good. So very cool. Cheers to Mindy.
Perfect. Cheers, Mindy.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast. Let us know who we should toast to for the next episode.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hustle Humbly Podcast. If you have an episode, topic, or question, please email us at hustlehumblypodcast@gmail.com.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. See you next week. Bye.
This is the good life.